Hey, hola. Welcome to the Painter Files podcast. This is episode 46. I am your host, as you will know, Joar Blake. How's it going, guys? I hope everything's going well with you. I hope the weather's not too crazy. It got cold all of a sudden. I know some people are probably freaking out because, that's what people do. They see things and then they just lose all control of their functions. Like it's... Oh my god, it's fall. How did it sneak up on me? It's so crazy. Officially, I guess it's not fall. It's not fall till the 20th, but it's fall. Well, got the hurricanes and stuff coming. I'm a little nervous about the hurricanes, I gotta admit. My mother still lives in North Carolina, and South Carolina is going to get pretty hard hit. Remember when I was a kid, we got hit by Hurricane Hugo. And it was really, really bad. Like trees were upturned and somebody's houses got crushed on by trees. And it was just, I remember being a little kid and like sitting by the window because we had like this old big house and I was there a lot by myself and it would creak and it scared me. I was always scared to just be there by myself. It was my secret. So I'd just be in my room and I'd lock all the doors and I'd be afraid to go out in the hallway and I was scared of the attic. But I do remember I used to sit out on the front porch and I would read books because I didn't have anything else to do. And then I realized I actually liked books. So that was kind of interesting. Maul's come to join us. Hi, Maul. How are you? You okay? Hello. But yeah, it was just one of those things. So I'm a little nervous. I'm scared. My mom's had a bunch of trees in her backyard cut down, actually, because they're several hundred feet tall. And I'm typically not for giant trees being cut down, but these are very skinny trees that are kind of just by themselves in her backyard. Like they're not like a clump of trees. It's like one tree. So it was one of those things, if it fell, it would have just basically would have probably killed her if it had fallen on her bedroom or anything like that. So I guess it had to go. I don't know. I'm nervous. I was like, I guess that's normal. It was a traumatic experience, and now I'm traumatized as an adult, which is strange. I've got a commission I'm working on right now. I got called by a young man in Colombia who wants me to do a mural of his girlfriend. So I'm working on that and their cats. I'm working on that right now. I'm just feeling out the design. It's a lot of back and forth. Like, do you like this? Do you want this? Do you want this type of thing? Send me a photo. Of course, they sent me like 5 photos. So, that's a little... There's something to be said about too many options. Sometimes can be a bit of a motherfucker. So that's kind of how that's going. We did decide on a design this morning, relatively. So I'm going to start putting that together. I've got to ship it off and have it get there by the 23rd. So it doesn't leave me a lot of time. But I feel like I'm going to get there. I feel like I'm kind of ready. My giant rolls of paper, I'm starting to go through my second roll almost with the ones that I'm working on. And I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get the next roll. I've still got one from the grant. I've still got one left, one full one left, but I never want to run low. It's like an anxiety thing to feel like you are creative and you want to make stuff, but you don't have the proper utensils to get it done. I remember my father had a stroke like 12 years ago, and I came up here to help him from North Carolina, to help him with his business. He's a radio DJ, but he also used to own a insurance company. So, which was funny because I didn't have insurance till I moved up here with the job. So he's there doing his thing. He had stroke, so he needed help. So I came up and I helped him. But in the meantime, I didn't have any money, so I couldn't really go. I didn't have money and I didn't have a car. So I had nothing to work on. I had all these sketch pads and I'm drawing stuff and I'm making things. Sorry about that. And I'm making things and I'm doing all the stuff that I need to do. But, yeah, I couldn't buy anything. No art supplies, no paints, no brushes, no canvas, no nothing. And it was driving me crazy. I think that's why I started thinking about doing watercolor back then, because I needed something I could travel with that wasn't going to be a problem. I could get on a plane or on a train or on a bus with, and it wouldn't be an issue. The problem with carrying around big inks is that, like containers of inks, is a lot of places won't let you carry liquids. So the Sumi sticks kind of come into factor. So, and the Sumi sticks are easy. You just kind of add water and there's like a stone and then the stick and you rub it against it while adding water, and it basically releases kind of the ink that's in the stick, and then it becomes ink basically. And you can make as little or as much as you want, and it's just as the stick rubs down, it gets gets the ink off of it, and then it mixes with the water and goes on. And you just it takes you forever to go through a stick. I have gone through a few sticks actually, but yeah, it's just one of those things. You worry about running out of everything. I worry about running out of inks. I mean, I buy inks all the time just because I'm scared I'm gonna run out of them. And I have so many inks, so many inks. It's kind of crazy how it all works and goes and just becomes everything, and it's on everything. Let me see. Now, Mole is here right now, and she's nudging me with her nose, which means she probably wants to go out. But she's going to have to wait till we're done with this, because I'm not going to stop podcasting, because she's bored. She doesn't have to go to the bathroom. She just wants to go outside, run around, play in the rain. She's funny that way. She's short, but she still likes to just go out and play. She's old. She's sweet, but she's an old little thing. I love her. Little Dotson, little big head Dotson. And then there's Goose. I took a skateboard out of the back of my car, which I have not ridden for a really long time, but I used to just fuck around in parking lots with it. So I'm putting that down, and from putting that down, I put it in the condo. And it's just kind of sitting in the corner. I was putting my shoes on top of it. One day I noticed my shoes have all been pushed off of it, and Goose is laid across it like kind of one of those French waiting sofas. And so far, Goose has basically taken over that little spot. I'll take pictures of it and put it on the stuff. It's just funny. She's got like this little kind of yes, entertain me type of thing going on. It's just funny. She's a character. They're both characters. Mo, why are you crying? What's wrong? Give me a sec. Alright, so now she's sitting behind me in a chair because she's decided this is the most comfortable place for her to be. It's not for me, but for her it is. But I figured it was a better way than just letting her interrupt the whole show. Now, Goose has gotten into this weird habit as of recent of she likes to just kind of sit in the dark and talk to herself out loud in a loud way. So I get up out of bed, or I get up from the studio, and I go out into the living room and see her, and she's just sitting there, and she looks at me like, what? What about? What do you need? I was busy. I was doing something. And I'm just like, I apologize for disrupting you. And I go back and I walk off. It's a weird aspect where it's like you're this tiny little, barely 1 foot tall thing, and you've basically made me feel like I've interrupted you in my house. So that's kind of funny. They're just characters. They always have been. We've been fixing the condo recently. Ugh. So we're going to pull all the carpet up at some point, put hardwood floors, because carpet, horrible. And also I've got to get my buddy who's a fix-it guy to help me fix one of the air conditioning heating convectors, because it has a pipe that drips. And so right now I have a bucket that is under it, and it only drips when it's on. which is fine for the fall because, it's funny. You can't see my hand constantly dipping, but it's dipping like a drip. And it's fine until it's on, and then it just drips. I'm scared about the winter because the winter will have hot water. Hot water is a bit harder to contain than cold water is, for many reasons. There's humidity, there's humidity either way, but there's like steam, and there's this, I don't want to have like a muggy feeling room going on. I like the dryness of the cold. Not a humid cold is just weird. I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm in England, which I've done. I remember England. It was cold and it was wet, and I was unprepared, and I had shorts because I was like, why is it so fucking cold during the summer? And they're like, what are you talking about? This is warm. This is like hot summer. It's like 60. It's like, fuck. It was such a weird time to just be alive in that. Finally, I got some help at work, so that's nice. At the day job as a mechanic, one of my buddies, who is a bike racer, has come in now on the weekends to help me cut back a lot of the extra workload that's going on. So I'm excited about that. My buddy Sayed Rana, and yeah, he's just a cool guy. He's funny. We're goofy. He's from Colombia. He's not the guy who's Bogotá. Not the guy from Bogotá, which is the capital of Colombia, which is where I'm sending the commission. Sayed is from a smaller region in Colombia, but he has a huge family. Super nice kid. He's much younger than I am, but I think he's like 23. Just a good guy, One of my favorite people. I feel like if it's possible for me to end up being best friends with someone who is not Alec or Zeph or Jenna, Sayed could be very well it. I mean, he and I kind of get each other a lot better than a lot of people. I don't know. I still feel like, I've got to find the art gig and focus fully on that. I want to just have my own art gig, but I know at this point in time, commissions are few and far between. And then there's the book and all that stuff, and like the book's selling well, but I'm finally. I had a discussion with my friend Roscoe, and he said he's a personal trainer, and he said, yeah, you got to buy like an ad on Facebook. So I did that, and then he said buy some flyers, and I did that. So I'm gonna put those out when I get done, when they come in about 7 days, and just put them everywhere. He said you got to put that effort into it. You gotta, just because somebody else said to me, just because it exists does not mean people have to have it. You need to target the people that you want to buy your book and then go after those groups of people. So I'm going to go to coffee shops and art supply stores and all that shit and just be free, really be one with my people, my goddess. So it's interesting. I ran into a bunch of Brazilian people recently, and it was just funny. It's weird. I only run across like white Brazilians. I don't really run across like any indigenous Brazilians or black Brazilians or anything of that nature. And it's just funny because like they speak Portuguese a little different than I do. We fala Portuguese in different ways. So it's just kind of, it's funny. They oftentimes do more like a Spanish Portuguese, like a Portugal, which is more like hola and stuff like that, as opposed to, God, I've forgotten how to speak now. That's embarrassing. Obrigado. There you go. Or obri, depending. So it's just kind of funny. But they're very excited when we meet each other and we talk and we have a good time, and I tell them about I'm doing art and I want to teach classes to like Brazilian kids and in America and Spanish kids and all this stuff, because we're kind of one and the same, and we oftentimes have a lot of the kind of same home and family life. So it's interesting to see, how we all kind of get where we get and do what we do. And I want them to feel creative. Like they brought them here to be Americanized. And I've been Americanized my whole life. So I figure creativity, it's no longer about the struggle of just trying to survive Rio de Janeiro as a carioca. Just life, you know? It's not about everything else. I mean, we still have to be careful of ridiculous people because, I mean, you can't avoid those people. And then there's ICE and everything else. People want to try and threaten to deport people who are actually from here, who don't have anywhere they could be deported to. Not that anyone should be threatening to deport anyone. I mean, if you do a crime, obviously there are laws, but you're not meant to threaten people with deportation as a regular, everyday person, or even as a police officer. That's not up to you. People need to just live. They're trying to live their lives and do their things. I think of like Zeph when she said she taught her kids, she taught her son the American history through a Native American perspective. Like via that understanding, there's a lot of people in America who should be worried about being deported. Because technically they don't have any more claim to this place than anyone else does. It's so strange to see, like, they talk about, like, when you look at different art styles and you see, like, the Renaissance as opposed to the Harlem Renaissance, like, they're all art. None of which belong specifically to anyone but the artist who are making it. Like, the location is where the location happens, but it's not a... But in no way does it mean you... It doesn't belong to the people it's happening around. It belongs to the world. Kind of like America. A lot of people have come here. A lot of more people will come. And it belongs to everyone. Just like art. The way America is art. The way it's split up and it's... You know, like maps and cartography and all these things. Like, they exist because some artist made them on some type of thing. They split it up in a way, but it exists as art, and then it's a reflection of said art. But it's still places and people and things. It's everything. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm on a tangent. I remember this one time in art school. I was sitting and I can't believe that's how it starts. I remember this one time in art school I was sitting. Yeah, that's it. Just sitting down, doing my thing. Like a normal person does. Now. There we go. Now we can have the actual art school story. I made a track specifically for this. So in art school, I had a bit of a drinking problem. I was stressed out and I was lonely and I was girl crazy and it was really, really hard actually. Because it was the first time in my life that I had to actually make something and just make it amazing and brilliant, and I had no real direction. And I didn't feel free, and I was just chasing kind of this idea that I was going to be like Diego Rivera and do these huge murals and all this work, and it was just going to come out of me and just be on the world, and just everything was going to accept it and pull it in and be that way. And it was none of those things. Like, there was so much rejection. There was rejection on the canvas. There was rejection in my mind. There was rejection in the classroom. There was rejection from lovers. There was everything. And I remember posing for this class nude and just feeling so pathetic. And I just didn't know what to do. So I just started drinking all the time. I'd have like a bottle in my car, in my trunk, and I'd randomly bust it out and just take a couple drinks before class, take a couple drinks after class, hang out in the quad, drink a little in like a thermos or whatever. It was just it was just a mess. And then I started getting kind of walking pneumonia, and I was still drinking, and it was just crazy. And a friend of mine told me, I've been going to these classes for a while now. You should come by. And it was AA. I didn't know anything really about AA. So I'd gone, and I stayed there for about 3 years, actually. Not in the room. I left the room and went to classes and stuff. But it gave me kind of a better way to just kind of deal with the factors that I had a lot of stuff that was fucking me up. And I wasn't willing to really deal with them. And then eventually I stopped going. When I finally kind of faced all the things that I had to deal with about myself and about my life and how I was angry about stuff with Abuela and stuff with just everything. I got tired of people asking me all the time, was I gay because I wanted to go to art school? Which the two aren't really, they're not that close in kinship, I guess. I mean, there are a lot of people who are bi and gay who go to art school, but it's not a requirement for that. And then to be a little Afro-Latino kid in a art school full of very, white guys and, sad indie white chicks who were playing with their sexuality and were dating me on occasion and were asking me if I was gay and all these other types of things. And, I wasn't really willing to look into that at the time. I was just kind of feeling out my art style. That was too deep for me to really go into. And I played with kind of the ideas of, could I love someone no matter who they were? Could I be attracted to someone no matter what their orientation was? And I don't know that I really came to any type of conclusions, but I knew that for me, I had to take a break from the drinking and everything because I was just going too hard in order not to ask myself questions about art and sex and life and love and religion and ageism and finance. I was just kind of slowly poisoning myself on a daily basis, drinking vodka, so much vodka. And I mean, I basically kept living that life until 2008. Well, 2010. And it was just hard. I remember getting so bummed out that I used to heat up lighters and I would touch my forearm with them and it would burn me and leave these scars. And I was so just fucked up about everything because I was a sad kid and I just didn't know how to handle and how to deal with them. And sadly, I wasn't going to find that in the people who were around me because they were all kind of living in the same ways. So I had to function and kind of figure out my facets in which I would go and cruise and inject myself. I had to deal with the fact that I was sad and that I was depressed. And no matter what I did, I just kind of kept coming back to being depressed. And it was just this really hard kind of crazy thing because I just wallow in it. I think people forget on the factor that growing up is this really hard thing. Growing up and trying to figure out where your voice comes from inside to then make it visual so other people will see it and then buy it is extremely difficult and crazy. I don't know. And then I made this song a couple days ago. I think the funny part about a lot of this stuff is that I started making all this music and stuff recently. Probably about a couple months or 5 so back. I don't know, it's probably a couple years now, I think about it. I used Rock Band because I was tired of getting hit by copyright infringement stuff on YouTube. And then I just started having fun with all this stuff. And then I made something on GarageBand, and then I still got hit by copyright stuff, which was ridiculous because I was like, but I made this. I made this with tools to do stuff, and apparently somebody copyrighted that. So now I just do this, and it works out well. I want to figure out how to make some bossa music. I grew up listening to bossa and playing bossa on the bass when I was a kid till I was probably about 22. And it gave me something kind of to focus on and be a part of it. And I've never quite realized exactly how to make bossa music with my music creator. But one day I will. I love bossa. It's just like an old, like, Caribbean, Latin American music. It's got a lot of bass. You can dance to it. Move your hips. Move around. Feel real good about it. I'm working on the second book. It's interesting. It's hard because I'm trying to kind of include everything that I've learned as an Afro-Latino kid growing up. And I'm putting a lot of facts into it, but I'm also trying to kind of be more visual. And just, I don't even know if I want it to be a kid's book. There's no cursing in it. There's no adult themes. It's just life. I don't know. It'll be a picture book because I make picture books, but it'll be interesting. I'm still just kind of doing everything I'm doing. I'm making constantly. I'm always making. And I feel like this is going to be a good year for me. It's almost over, but I feel like there's a lot of good possibility that's going to happen. I'm sorry to the person who left us on Patreon. I know for whatever reason you left. I understand. I'm sad. Whenever anybody leaves, I'm always sad. But I understand, like, money comes up or you lose interest or whatever. There's a lot of reasons why people go. But I wish you well. I hope you're well. And I have nothing but love for you. So if ever we see each other in the streets, I want you to know I appreciate everything you've done. And you're wonderful. And I love you for all the help you've given and all the support you've put forward. Yeah. So, for the most part, I think I'm done, actually. This was episode 46 of the Painter Files podcast. I hope you're well. I love you so much. I think you're so great. I watched the last episode of Adventure Time. It was wonderful. I was just like this weird little comic. And, yeah. Till next time. I'm working on a bunch of art. I'll put some pictures in there. Alright. Ciao. Painter out. Mwah.